Hi guys, this is Mrs. Bailey, and today we're going to talk about texture. Okay, so texture can be real, or it can be something that you draw in your artwork. So the first thing we're going to talk about is real texture. Okay, so real texture is when you can feel something. So like my jacket has a texture, even your hands can have a texture, the table, the wall, all of these things, your chair, they all have texture and they're all going to feel different. Okay, so like rocks might feel a little bumpy. The sidewalk is going to feel kind of rough. And then like the tabletop feels really, really smooth. Even my hair has a texture. Okay, so your first job is you are supposed to pause the video and I want you to run around the house and try and go find 4 different textures. Look for things that are soft, things that are rough or scratchy or bumpy. So run around the house and go find 4 different kinds of textures and then play the video again. Okay, ready? Pause it. Okay, did you find 4 different kinds of textures or more? If anything, you can try like carpet, rugs, the floor, all sorts of different things. So I hope you're able to find some different textures and feel how they're really different. Now, where it gets tricky in our artwork is the paper always feels like paper. I want it to feel like a soft, cushy pillow, still feels like paper. If I want to add fur or hair, it still feels like paper. So as artists, your job is to draw what it might feel like. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on today. So pause it. I want you to go get paper and a pencil. You are also going to need some markers and crayons down the road. But first off, we just need paper and a pencil. So pause the video if you need to and go grab what you need. Okay, so I have this nice little paper that's going to kind of help us out when we're talking about adding texture to our artwork. Okay, so we talked about these different kind of textures that you can add. So here it might be something rough like wood or soft. We've got sandy, and here's the bumpy, slick or smooth, prickly like sticks, pointy, we've got flaky, scaly, you might see that on a fish, woven would be kind of like fabric, fluffy like a cloud. This could be hairy or furry. This is the one we're going to be working on today. Wet and rocky. So when you draw your texture, this whole paper still feels like paper, but just by using my pencil, I'm going to show what it might look like. Okay, so that's what we're going to work on today. So I found corduroy. I love corduroy. He's such a fun little bear, and the illustrator of the book did a fantastic job of showing some of this texture. So we've got corduroy, and you can see right here that they added those lines so that we can see corduroy is furry, even on his feet. And then his pants, they're a corduroy, which is a type of fabric, and it's got these ridges and bumps in it, and you can see with the lines that the artist tried to add that. Even the cushion that he's standing on as he goes for the button. See how it looks really soft, nice and rounded? So this artist showed texture in the artwork. So we're just going to look at a couple of the pictures for corduroy. Okay, so look at this one where he's pulling the button. You can see it's a nice soft cushy bed, but he's pulling on the button and he's pulling up that soft cushy. You can see the fur and his corduroy pants. Even on the police officer's uniform, you can see some of those lines. So this illustrator did a great job of showing this texture. The fur, the pants, you can see there's a pillow back here in the ruffle. He showed that the fabric was kind of moving, things like that, okay? Even here we've got the clown's hair, same thing with his fur, the fur on the bunny, we got the doll's hair, we can tell it's really straight. Okay, we've got the little girl, she's got straight hair as well, but then if you look up here you can kind of see the curls in the woman's hair. So we're showing the texture there. And we've got the lion's mane. And she's really excited because she gets to take corduroy home, and she's fixing corduroy's button. So, and once again, you can see she has straight hair and then a little bit of a curl. So we're seeing all these textures simply put in with some different kinds of lines. Okay, so we're going to work on adding texture just like corduroy in our picture. We're actually going to draw corduroy. So if you've got that paper and pencil, let's get that started. All right, so we're going to start with our paper going vertical, so that's the tall way, okay? And we're going to start all the way up at the top by drawing corduroy's head, okay? Now, since corduroy is going to be the main part of our picture, we don't want to make him teeny tiny. We want to try and take up most of the paper if we can, okay? So we're going to draw a circle, but make sure you leave a little bit of room for his ears. So we're going to draw a nice circle for corduroy's head. There we go. And then we can add the ears on the side. And they're gonna kind of be like circles too, but we wanna make sure they look like they're attached. There we go. It's gonna kind of look like Mickey Mouse here to start. There we go. All right, so for corduroy's eyes, we get to do circles again. And then we are gonna add the pupils, okay? So that would be this dark colored part of the eye. So we can add the pupils, and then you can color those in. And we will color these in a little bit better. So if it's not perfect right now, that is just fine, okay? And then corduroy has this lighter part on his face. So we're gonna add that. And this is gonna kind of help make it look like he's got a snout. And then he's got an upside down triangle for his nose. Remember, if any time I am going too fast for you, pause the video. You can pause it if whenever you need to. You can even rewind it too if you miss something. All right, so we're gonna show his mouth. So he's got a straight line coming down, and I wanna show him happy. He's getting towards the end. A little girl took him home. So then we're gonna show 2 lines coming up. He's happy corduroy. There we go. All right, so we're gonna add corduroy's body, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add his arms. So his neck is gonna be about here, but corduroy doesn't have much of a neck. You can kind of see right here. So we are just gonna add his shoulders and his arms. It's almost like a rainbow shape. And then under the rainbow shape, we're going to show his paws. And if you look, his paws are just rounded. So we are going to do just a smiley face and a smiley face. There we go. He's happy. And then we can add the rest of his body. So we're going to draw, it's going to be almost like a rectangle shape. It's just not going to have the top. So watch, I'm going to start here. I'm gonna come straight down, leave yourself a little bit of room for his feet. Over, and then we're gonna connect, okay? Then to make it look like he's wearing pants, you just gotta put a line down the middle. And then for his corduroy trousers, I like to first decide, if you can look, it's just straight across right here. So I just first decide where I kind of want it to go. I just want to go straight across right here, but it doesn't reach my arms. Easy fix. All I got to do is bring a line up and just make them connect. There we go. So corduroy throughout the story, he's got one button, but he lost this button. So that's kind of the story. He's trying to find the button. So we're going to show one buttoned, so we can draw a circle for the button. And then all you have to do, draw the strap. There we go. So that one's actually buttoned. This guy over here is not going to be buttoned. So it's just like a giant U. So we'll do another U, but this one's not going to touch his corduroy pants because it lost its button and it's loose. We can even add just like a little skinny oval so you can see the buttonhole. All right. So let's give corduroy some feet. Kind of like ovals at the bottom. There we go. All right, so we've got corduroy. So now we're going to draw him standing on the cushion. So if you look, do you see how this curved line, it touches corduroy and it goes off the side. Same thing over here, off the side. We don't want to draw through corduroy. So I'm going to start on corduroy's legs and draw a curved line off the side and off the side. So it looks like he's standing on a cushion. And then if you really want to, we could even add some buttons because he's going for buttons. Maybe there's a couple buttons on our cushion down here. And to really help make the cushion look soft, Gonna add some curved lines coming out from our button. There we go. All right, so we've got corduroy drawn. Now we're going to start adding some of that texture. So this is where your markers come in. So if you don't have your markers yet, pause the video and go grab some markers. We are going to start with a brown marker, okay? Now because we're adding the texture for corduroy, we're not going to actually color them all in. We're going to draw those lines that make it look like he has fur. So it shows that furry texture. And his whole body is covered in it. So we're going to draw lots of these little lines. Okay? Now, just because we're drawing lots of little lines doesn't mean we rush through this. You kind of got to think about where we're putting them. The fur could be kind of sticking out off his arm if you want. Okay? Now, because he has his green corduroy pants on, you want to make sure you don't add any fur there. We'll add some texture to the corduroy pants in a minute. Okay? So go ahead and finish putting texture all over corduroy's body. I'm going to pause it and finish. So if you want to see mine finished before you finish the texture, you can see that first. Okay, so here's my corduroy with his texture. I did add some little lines right here where his snout would go. And you can see that I've got a little bit of the fur sticking out around the ears, and that's fine because fur sticks up. I can think of my puppy dogs. They have fur that kind of sticks up sometimes. One thing you do want to be careful, and I did it right here, if you kind of drag your hand through the marker, it does make it run a little bit, okay? After you do the texture on corduroy, we are going to add the texture to his corduroy overalls, and he has green overalls. So we're going to take a green and just do straight lines going straight down. So it shows the texture of his overalls. They kind of have the corduroy ridges that you can feel, almost kind of rough. So go ahead, when you're done with the fur, you can add some green lines with a green marker in his overalls. Remember, I know sometimes I'm going fast. If you need to, pause that video, okay? So we've got the furry texture happening here. We've kind of got that rough, rigid pattern and texture going on here. And then the cushion he's standing on is red in the book. So I'm going to do a red, soft cushion. I'm just going to kind of trace my pencil line. So we know we see that soft, cushy texture. There we go. Okay. So go ahead and pause it if you need to. You are going to finish adding that texture in with marker, and up next is going to be crayons. Okay? Okay, so when we color with crayon, your first job is to not push really, really hard. Okay? If you push really, really hard, you're going to hide all this beautiful texture that you just added. So I'm going to flip over quick, show you what not to do. Okay? Don't do this. Just watch. When I have the crayon, if I push really hard, it definitely colors in everything, but it's really, really dark. The harder you push, the darker it is, and that your hand's also going to get really, really tired. So I like to push really light. You can see the difference. I'm pushing really light. The crayon goes on really light. You can actually color it a little bit faster. Your hand's not going to get tired. So we want this one. So right on top of our marker, I'm going to take my brown crayon and color really lightly in corduroy. And if you look, you can still see all that texture I added. Okay? Now when we color with crayon, I really want you to focus on trying to stay in the lines. When you get closer to those pencil marks, I have to do it too. I got to slow down. If I go too fast, I get outside the lines, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep corduroy looking nice. Okay? Also, another thing, kind of think of when somebody mows the lawn. If somebody mows the lawn, they don't mow like this. They mowed the lawn like that, they'd miss all these spots. We don't want that. They mow the lawn in rows where they go back and forth and keep going until you get all the spots. So I like to color kind of in lawnmower tracks. I usually go around my pencil line. That way, it kind of helps me stay in the lines. And then I just kind of work in my rows, just like somebody mowing the lawn. Okay, so you're gonna do brown. I'm gonna pause it and keep working. So you'll all of a sudden see mine done. If you need to pause it, go for it. I'm gonna finish coloring in corduroy and brown. I'm gonna color his overalls in green, and I'm gonna color the cushion in red. Okay, I've got my finished corduroy. I've got it all colored in. I colored my buttons red because the cushion he was on, they were red. So my very, very last step, and I usually leave this for the end because black marker, it likes to kind of run and I don't want to put my hand in it and smear it, is I'm going to come up and I'm going to trace the eyes black and then color them in like corduroy's eyes. But I'm going to do so really carefully because I don't want to put my hand in this and smear that black everywhere. And give his nose and get his mouth. There we go. Okay. And if you'd like to, his button is blue in the story, so you can color that button blue. But there's your corduroy. If you'd like to, you can color the background. That's completely up to you, but we'd learned all about texture. We added the furry texture. We've got his texture on his overalls and the soft texture on his cushion. Nice job.